All right, we are back. Going to do some Q&A now, guys. And again, guys, we're going to read off the questions that have the most upvotes in Reddit. And that's going to be how we were going to do it just from now on. So be sure to upvote your favorite comments, because that's the ones we're going to read off.
You're encouraging a corrupt system, Chris. It's going to be a case of power users now ruling the roost. I hope you're happy.
Gosh. Oh man, I'll give some love.
Are we
I'll
only
still
reading
give some
off?
love
Are we
to
gonna
people
Are we
in the
gonna change this so we only read off questions now from checkmark users too, Chris, or what?
No.
I think we need to go back to dig. Just do
Oh god, yeah, the dig methods. All right, here we go.
Where was that? All right.
Well, actually, where are we? Oh, this one only got 4 points in its top. Interesting. Okay, so for TB, how do you think GameHeart has changed StarCraft 2 Pro scene? Is it easier for teams to make deals with sponsors now that they can provide in-game attention for them?
Not yet. That's what we've been working to. I've been trying to work towards this for the past few years. When I think maybe some of you remember, I think it was 2011, where I announced the creation of the virtual jersey scoreboard, which was an adaptation for Starboard, which had little sponsor logos on it. And we're working on that, and it has inherent challenges with it because it's a part of the overlay, which means it can't be too big. So especially at lower resolutions, you can't read shit on that thing. So unless it's a very recognizable logo, like say Monster, that even if it's tiny, you can kind of see the 3 slashes, you know what it means. It was really hard to make that happen. For those who don't know, the GameHeart crew are putting in a sponsor overlay that goes directly onto the map for about 2 minutes in the base of the player in question. So you're from Team Liquid, and then Shiny Things and Western Digital, I think, or whatever bloody sponsors they have, they all appear on the ground along with things like social media, like a link to their website, a link to their Facebook, and that's there for about 2 minutes, and then it fades away, because obviously it would be obnoxious if it stayed around. Yeah. And we're hoping that over the next year, that will start to show that, okay, StarCraft's got a weaker audience, we recognize that. So if you're looking to sponsor a League of Legends team, we can definitely understand why you would do that. But look at the ROI and the exposure level. It's actually higher per viewer because we can provide that kind of stuff in-game. And I think that you could actually make that argument effectively to an organizer and to a sponsor that it's good to put money into this because the ROI is higher. So I hope that it will help. But the problem is that WCS doesn't use it, and it's the biggest deal out there right now. So my hope is that every other tournament is willing to play ball.
We're getting closer to that. We're getting closer because we're seeing it more and more almost every week now. GameArt being used. So.
The thing is that some tournaments will turn that sponsor thing off because the sponsors for that tournament will say, I can't do that. Yeah. When I was speaking to MLG, actually, one of my biggest concerns is, oh, damn. So MLG is sponsored by, say, NOS Energy Drink. What happens if EG gets the logo all over the map for Monster? Is that going to be a problem? And I said, no, it's not a problem. And that was great. You know, it was really cool that they were that progressive about it, but not every tournament is going to be like that.
Right. Okay. Todd, got a question for you, man. I vote kick. This is really interesting. Recently, you starred in a Red Bull advertisement with what was basically playing StarCraft 2 in an earthquake. Can you confirm that playing StarCraft 2 in an earthquake is better than playing Warcraft 3 without air conditioning?
This is something that I would have expected Steven to ask, but you, ChanManV, I'm very disappointed.
Oh, come on.
I think playing in an earthquake is easier than playing with bad air conditioning.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
What? Wow. The sweaty pits, man. They like screw your APM up. Oh god. Okay, let's see. Next up, Riff King's got a question. Katz mentioned on Apollo's stream that the viewership was less than expected on GameOn so far. What were the ideal goals for viewership? And follow up, are there any plans to implement proper chat? Okay, I think we talked about proper chat, but were there any goals for viewership, Steven, that you've heard of? Or
I mean, I've definitely got my own numbers in mind. I don't know what MLG is looking for.
yours?
I think for me personally, I don't know. For like the final, I don't know, going into like the semifinals and the finals, I would hope that like 10 to 15 would be like a minimum. Given that we're going to be casting Scarlet matches, having Idra in control, and then me and Kat's casting, that's kind of like my hope is to see it around there, like the 10 to 15 mark. But I guess we'll find out.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Actually, TB, what do you think of MLG's approach to chat? because we talked about it earlier when you weren't on here. The whole Twitter integration and all that good stuff.
TB actually made a post recently where he said the Twitter was a mistake and he was actually hoping for more Google Plus integration.
Google Plus integration. You could actually just use the Google API to do that.
I'm in bed with Google all the way. You know it. But I mean, Twitch chat is mostly terrible. I'd say present company accepted, of course, but you guys know exactly what you're doing, so don't even start with me. But I think the Twitter thing is specifically because of something that Steven actually mentioned during the break, which I think is very accurate, that when you're not on Twitch, you don't kind of have the overflow of people coming from one Twitch stream to another. It's almost like it's starting to get to this point where people go to Twitch to find something that's on. Yeah, like Twitch is becoming their new TV. Whereas it used to be, you go on Team Liquid, and that's where all the events are listed, and that's your StarCraft is made or break, kind of you make or break the tournament by its presence on Team Liquid. And the thing is that you need more social media advertising in order to make something like the GameOn Invitational work, because you're not advertising on Twitch. You don't have that internal viewership that will just kind of stumble upon you. You've got no way for people to stumble upon you because not enough people go to the MLG website yet. So it seems to me that the chat is specifically designed to get more social media attention out. And I don't like it. Now, I understand they need to do it that way, but hijacking your Twitter to be a chat doesn't seem like a very good idea. And honestly, if you spam Twitter, like if I put my chat on there, like that would be inconceivable. There's no way I could chat in that system because I've got 250,000 followers, and they would get really pissed off really fast if I was chatting the way that I would in a Twitch chat. So I don't really like it. It's an interesting idea to have it be optional, but I think you've got to provide a traditional chat system of some sort.
Yeah. Or at least have the option to like maybe signing it. Like my suggestion, I pretty much said the same thing you did. My suggestion was maybe make it so that in order to sign into the chat system, you're required to tweet once. Like it'll automatically tweet like, "Hey, I'm chatting now at like the MLG.TV or whatever," something like that. But just the idea that you would have to spam it every single time you type, it just feels too much like, okay, we're going to abuse your social media no matter how you feel to try to get hits out for our website. You know, it just doesn't feel like a good trade-off at all.
It just
right now.
I don't think it
right
even
now
works,
every time you comment, it goes on Twitter.
Yes,
Every
single thing you say in the chat room is posted to Twitter. I think with an MLG hashtag. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Twitter is not for chatting. I experienced this firsthand when people complained that I spam too much on Twitter. Yeah,
I know. You're
put
totally chatting on Twitter. What do you mean?
I used to use it, like, I just go on these 7 or 8 tweet rants, and it was the dumbest shit, and I shouldn't have done it. And that just does not work on Twitter. That's not what Twitter is for. You can't do that. Give people the option to tweet about the tournament in an easy way. They probably will. People are willing to help you out in that respect. Don't force it down their throats, though, because they will react badly to that. Yeah, and the medium just doesn't suit it.
Not to not to mention, I don't even know how much it worked, because I think it had negative impact because the chat itself was dead. It was really dead.
The chat was dead.
Chat being dead in combination with hiding your viewership numbers makes it look like when you turn on a stream, and that's some of the experience. When you're watching a stream that 60,000 people are watching, it feels different than watching a stream that 60 people are watching, you know? Yeah. So hiding the viewership numbers and having a dead chat go hand in hand and making it feel like you're watching a literally dead event, you know? Like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Hype
Do you know the reason? Do you know the reason behind hiding the numbers, or?
MLG is super anal about protecting their business bullshit. I don't fucking know. Ask them. I think it's stupid, but that's an MLG decision.
They'd hardly be the only ones to do it.
Yeah, they've always done that. I mean, okay, I've got a question for TB. Why are you undertaking such a huge tournament when initially, after the Home Story Cup debacle, you said that there wouldn't be any regular Shoutcrafts? What changed your mind?
Well, I think that the reason that I wasn't going to do regular Shoutcrafts is because basically Jen retired from doing esports stuff, and she was responsible for a lot of the logistics and the organizational side of Shoutcraft. And having to take on the team and dealing with the management side plus my regular stuff, I was looking at my schedule. I'm like, how the hell could I ever possibly run a tournament in this way? Mm-hmm. And it became abundantly clear that people love that brand and people will support Shoutcraft as a whole, and it makes no sense to throw the brand away. But I wanted to come up with something that wasn't a complete logistical nightmare. Yeah. So the Clan Wars concept was built entirely around the idea of keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Make the logistical aspect of it very easy to do. And even put a lot of the burden on the teams to sort their own shit out. and then just I turn up with my overlays and I cast the event, and that's the end of the event, and I don't have to track anything on a website. I don't have to keep up with the league or anything because there is no league. So it was really coming down to that. It's not like I wanted to not do tournaments anymore. It's not like I've given up on this scene. It's bullshit. I'm gonna go cast Smite. But it was more of a case of how can I feasibly do this? You know,
Right.
it was just about practicalities.
One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the Clan Wars is your co-caster. So are you going to have co-casters? I know you're not paying co-casters. I think you mentioned
Yeah, we
that,
can't pay co-casters because like the margin on this is so small that I'm not getting paid for it either.
Yeah.
I'm just making the money that I make's on the VODs basically, which is not very much.
Right.
But any caster that I like and is willing to do it for free. I know Nathanius already said that he was interested in doing 1 or 2, so I'm like, cool. And I think IVD actually said that Tempo was interested in doing some casting too.
Yeah.
And neither of those were charged. So I'm totally open to having a co-caster as long as I know that it's a co-caster I can work with and has a good quality mic and knows what they're talking about, because I don't know a damn thing about StarCraft. So I need someone that can help me out with that.
Any caster that you like? That's why you never asked me to cast anything else.
You never added me on Skype, that's why. It's been like a year since I last put a contact request in with you. You never accepted me.
No,
Wait,
no,
weren't
I
you guys
didn't.
on the weren't you guys on the same Star Strikers team?
Yeah, and he never added me on Skype. I was in
What
some
the
other
fuck?
group. It was like I had to hand a message to someone else to take it to
Oh
talk.
my
He
God.
wouldn't talk to me directly. God.
Oh god.
I don't get requests on Skype. I block them.
You-
I cannot get any requests. That's why maybe when you add me, I don't see it. But yeah, I would love to cast with you at some point.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
You can like right click his name right now, Johan, and
Join
add him
me
if
on
you
Skype.
really
No,
wanted
I
to.
have you right now. I think.
Okay.
Wait,
all
do
right.
I?
Let's see.
No, you still haven't accepted me. God damn it.
What a dick.
Okay,
I'll
I didn't
resend
know.
the contact request. There you go.
All
Finally.
right. All right, DC Sullet, he asked, to Destiny, a couple episodes ago with In Control, you stated that MLG would have a hard time coming back to StarCraft 2 because of all the horrible PR. Looking at the Reddit and TL threads, the overall responses have been highly welcoming. Do you think PR has a huge impact on esports right now, even after seeing the positive response for MLG
I think
coming back?
PR has a huge impact on anything you do. I was contingent when Katz asked me to do this. It was contingent upon me saying that Sundance would never be allowed to tweet about anything having to do with our event. I remember I specifically said that to Adam when they signed me up for this.
Wow.
But you can literally
Okay.
take any situation in the world, and I don't want to use the term spin it, but fucking PR is everything, man. Like, man, I'm not trying to throw anybody in, but like, for instance, recently when we announced our tournament, Todd announced his tournament a couple days later. Or no, I think it was like a day or two later. It was pretty soon afterwards. And like immediately after that, like the melodrama started. I think Adam tweeted like, I give up, and like he tweeted at me and everything goes wrong, blah blah blah. Like just like holy fuck, like just calm the fuck down. Me and Katz got into a Skype call with Todd. We organized our times, right? We got Todd to move his event a little bit earlier. We moved ours a little bit later. We worked out all of our times to make everything line up nice. And then I made a nice little post on Reddit explaining, you know, there was a conflict in times. We all chose our times because of this. There was no malice or ill will on either side. And,
You
and I feel
wanted
like
that
that.
karma. Though.
What?
You wanted that karma.
I wanted the karma.
You
It
wanted
was
the
a self
karma.
post.
Yeah,
I don't get any karma. Fuck you. But regardless, like that was like one example of like an event that could have been handled like in two different ways. We could have made a bunch of shit posts about how like fucking Todd is trying to fuck our tournament up. He has no respect for our tournament. They're obviously doing this with no desire to see esports grow. They only care about their own views. Like you could have did it that way. Or you could have did it the other way, where like we contacted each other, we worked out our times. You know, everybody wants everybody to do well. We're targeting different viewer bases, and everything has worked out just fine. Literally everything. Too Good said it best on your show, where he said that he wanted to live in Sundance's brain for like one day, just so he could be in a board meeting with like the MLG people to figure out like what goes on there, because it just seems like MLG historically has been really bad with their PR. The gold debacle was a great example of that, where they were going to add the arenas or whatever for StarCraft 2, but they weren't going to queue gold members in on it. TB could have, or not TB, Sundance could have very easily in 20 seconds, like made a post on StarCraft Reddit. We're sorry, we can't afford to offer this much content. We messed up in the past. Like, we're offering these different paths. But instead it blew up into some horrible disaster because they didn't have anybody to manage the PR for it, let the community find it out on their own, and then acted insanely indignant. You know, what was the whole, like, I get it speech that he gave. Instead of just, like, talking to people, you know, getting people to chill out. So I do think that PR is incredibly important, almost more important than the actions themselves, because how you spin different events and how you handle them will dictate how the public looks at you, you know, in regards to those events.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that as well that right now, with a lot of negativity surrounding StarCraft, you really have to kind of play this off like the Roman Empire. You know, oh, the plebs are unhappy, so we're going to put on some grand games for them. You know, we're going to get the Colosseum full. We're going to have some lions eating some Christians and some really fun, wholesome family activities like that. And the way that you make the way that you bring the community back to a more positive light is you give them distractions. Because if you don't give them distractions, they will find distractions, and their distractions consist of Twitter drama and bullshit.
Sure.
And that's no good at all. So give them some fucking tournaments, drown them in it. You know, give them so many cool things that of course they're still going to try and complain, but they're going to complain less. They're going to be more positive about the future of the game. They're not going to end up like, you know, almost starving buzzards just looking around the corpse of a dead game or whatever. They're going to say, yeah, this game's alive. Look at all this shit that's going on. You know, it's good to distract people.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of where the community, the StarCraft 2 community, I think is more evolved and just more dynamic than other game communities. Like, we can do these kind of community events. Like, all you guys right now are in these events that are they're more community-like than they are, from just giant organizations.
Yeah,
right?
they are definitely.
So, I mean, we don't. You don't
that's
see
unusual
quite
for
as many.
MLG. Who
Yeah,
obviously
that's true.
had that corporate outlook for the longest time, and I hope that MLG does bring back the live events because it's what they're best at.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is nice.
And I've
to
been
have the different-
critical. I've been kind of being a little bit critical of some of the MLG decisions, but what Totalbiscuit said there was really true. MLG is trying to change their approach, and I think it's really cool that they're giving, just an example of what Totalbiscuit said earlier about how they wouldn't mind people using like the logos on the game heart. That's a big 180. I almost said
It really
360. That's a big 180 from
huge.
from what MLG did in the past. I don't know if you guys remember in the past that email that got leaked from MLG that was going to dictate what player jerseys would look like on the MLG
Yeah.
stage a long time ago. So MLG's come a long way, hopefully, in how they've managed their PR and their approach to being more community oriented rather than, like corporate will dictate everything and, live with it. So I really hope to see MLG continue to go down that path too, because I do think they'll find success there if they continue with it.
All right. I got a question actually from one of my mods. Okay, it's talking about Hearthstone. So Hearthstone open beta happened today, and I guess Twitch TV just tweeted I guess on the beginning of the show. Hold on to your butts. Hearthstone is now in open beta. Make room in the
Can't
directory.
wait for the 12-0 arena runs. This is going to be fantastic. Fresh meat across the board.
Oh,
Wonderful.
seriously, right? Oh god.
Oh,
that's true.
yeah.
I didn't even
This is
think
time to
about
farm
that.
some gold.
Fucking Trump with 22,000 viewers. Holy fuck me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Good for Trump. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
I need to make some more
Steven.
videos. Jeez.
Not jealous
I
at
do.
all.
I offered a
No,
beta key to
definitely
you
not.
like a long time ago, Steven. And-
Man, after StarCraft 2 and Diablo 3, I didn't have any faith in Blizzard to put out another fucking.
okay, let's get
be real.
TV's. What do you think of Hearthstone? Because you make content on Hearthstone, so.
I make a lot of money on Hearthstone, and it's wonderful. But it's actually what really confuses the hell out of me is that I'm maybe above average at most at that game, and I don't really stream it. I make YouTube videos about it, which is what most people don't do. The amount of views that I get on those boggles my mind. I don't know why I get that. I'm getting like 159,000 plus viewers a video for just doing arenas, and I'm still getting it. Like, you'd thought people would have got bored by now. Nope. They just, I don't know how they watch it. I don't know why they watch it, but they watch it.
'Cause it's
And
fun.
keep
What do you mean?
riding that train as long as it doesn't go off the tracks. Absolutely.
I really hope that this
It's
sends a
fun
message
too,
to
right,
Blizzard.
TV?
Yeah, of course it's fun.
It's pretty fun, yeah.
I hope that.
You
I
see
hope that
dollar signs
Blizzard-
lighting up.
I hope that Blizzard
Jesus.
understands more of what's going on, because my impression or what I've heard from everybody that's talked about it is that Hearthstone was like a little kind of side gag that they didn't
It
really
was,
take
yeah.
very seriously. Not very many people working on it. Not a lot of promotion about it. Like they're huge IPs, like the
Yeah,
Warcraft.
I think there are 8 engineers working on it. Or
Yeah,
something
just
that.
like a really small project. but it was implemented in such a way that it was accessible to everybody. Apparently, there's enough depth to keep people who appreciate that more involved. They have an awesome monetization system built in so that they can continue to give interest to it without it feeling like a charity.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes StarCraft might feel that way. You know, like what you said earlier when you brought up the CEO and whatnot. So I really hope that they hear the message of Hearthstone more and they take more of a community-oriented approach for their future, you know, their existing IPs in the future. Because Hearthstone was obviously a really great success for
Community
Blizzard.
approach? I mean, there's like not much community aspects to Hearthstone right now, honestly.
He
Well,
means give stuff where you can pay and like.
Well, yeah, but,
yeah,
I
like
mean,
your
money
ability to-
monetary wise, revenue
Yeah,
channel
monetary-wise,
wise,
your ability
but-
to dump money into it,
Yeah.
the fact that it's accessible to a lot of people, I think are really good ideas. That's what I mean when I say community, not like chat rooms or whatever.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
It's also just a smaller game in general, and it's always been like for the past 10 or so years, Blizzard makes these big monolithic games that like 5 years in the making. Look at how fucking huge this is. We spent more on this one cutscene than indie devs have in their lifetimes, you know. And then Hearthstone comes along, and it's a little 2D card game thing, and it's great and it's fun, and I think that has demonstrated that these Blizzard should absolutely listen to those smaller dev teams doing those side projects.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, it's what a lot of Valve's successful stuff came from.
Definitely.
Because that's the model they have there. A little team can go and work on something, and then maybe the rest of them likes it and they develop it into something. That works. They've obviously got
And
the
it's nice
talent
because for Blizzard, like even if this project failed horribly, like it wasn't that big of a commitment for them. You know, they're not losing, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars,
Yeah.
you know, like developing Hearthstone. If it would have only been moderately successful, it still would have been okay. But the fact that they could find something like this and get and extract something like this from such a small development team, I think speaks volumes to hopefully their future commitment to projects like this.
And what's going to be funny is, like I've talked about this before, is like at what point will Hearthstone actually pass up StarCraft 2 in revenue or just profits or slash revenue?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's already done it in revenue.
It might-
at this rate. Like,
it
it's
might.
like,
arguably,
well,
yeah.
about 24 hours after the beta opens. There you go.
I know I've spent like 6-7 times more than I spent on StarCraft on that game. So
I haven't, but then again, not everyone knows
You're
a
a
pro
total
team that they
biscuit.
can throw money
Yeah.
at.
oh, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
It's like, well, there's no way for us as viewers to give more money to StarCraft. Like,
Yeah,
not
it's
outside
true.
of community efforts.
Yes.
You buy the game, you buy the expansion, and that is all you can do. You know?
Fuck, man. And like somebody who has played Brood War a lot, man. Like I bought the collector's editions. I fucking love this game. Like I mean, I played Brood War for 10 years. Like give me the ability to put fucking hats on my Marines or you know dress my Zerglings up as like Doberman Pinchers or Dachshunds or something.
Yeah.
Wiener dogs. You know, like I'd fucking do it. I would love to throw $15, you know, for a skin pack or you know for an Abathur voice for my
15.
Zerg units. 15, 50, 100. I would pay. Listen, honest to God, I would pay $50 for an Abathur voice pack for my Zerg units. If I could have Abathur talk to me instead of that queen every time I'm like oversupplied, or some shit,
pay
I would
$50 for that?
dude.
Wow.
I pay $50
okay.
in a fucking heartbeat, man. But like really, like
Well,
people want
Just
it.
look at how
There's
silly
nothing
Dota 2
for-
was for that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst crime you can commit as somebody in a business is to leave free money on the table. And this isn't even money that Blizzard would have to be like dastardly to get. Like, it's not like, you know, spamming your Twitter like the MLG chat. It's just giving people like a little bit of what they want. Like, if people want to give you money, like, open a channel for it. Like, fuck. Like, Blizzard could open up a StarCraft 2 PayPal account and take donations and make a little bit more money. You know,
do that.
obviously that's
Come
an
on.
extreme example, but like,
Yeah.
fuck, like releasing hats or skins or really little dumb things. Like, people would love to throw money at StarCraft 2 for that, and it would give Blizzard a little bit more of an incentive to pay attention to shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game would have to be free to play, and like a lot of people have already bought the game. So how do you make the transition where the game becomes free to play?
I mean,
Well,
even if
because
it wasn't
you
free to
I
play,
think all
I
of
would
us
still,
wouldn't care if they made it.
Yeah,
free to
I would
play at
still
this
pay
point.
money
You
for
can have
cool.
a cash shop in it. Like, as
Yeah.
long as it doesn't have a subscription fee or shit like that. You know, there's
Yeah.
plenty of like companies, especially with MMOs, that like triple dip. The Secret World, when that was released, you buy the box for 60, you pay $15 a month, and it has a fucking cash shop. That's taking the piss. But
Sure.
this game's been out for 4 years. We buy an expansion maybe every 2 years. I would happily pay $5, $10, $15 for an Abathur voice or whatever, like Steven said. Anything like that. And I think that Blizzard should actually be dedicating a small team and their sole purpose is to make cool shit to sell you in-game. I don't know how feasible that is, but I would love it to happen.
It's got to be feasible. That's what Valve's whole the TI3 model was fucking built off of for funding that prize pool. Was just giving people the option to throw money at it to get little, you know, in-game cool things.
That is
Yeah.
a game that's
Imagine
built from
funding
the
it to-
ground up, though, to be microtransaction based.
Sure, but I mean, imagine, but like Blizzard's got the infrastructure in place to process credit card payments and all that shit. Like, I mean, like it wouldn't be a big deal for. It's not like an indie studio trying to do it. And I mean, like we've seen the model work. Imagine the ability to fund WCS to replace like my Terran Ghost with Kerrigan's. Like, imagine the ability to fund WCS that way.
All I know is TI3 was pretty much paid for from the compendium. I mean,
Yeah.
the event itself was paid for, including the prize money. So that's freaking amazing.
Valve's the one to watch when it comes to those innovative ideas. You've got to think outside of that box, and quite literally, in the case of Blizz, you've got to think outside of the fucking box that you buy. We need more ways to give you money, because just selling a box sounds great, but if you want to keep your game competitive for years to come, you've got to diversify your revenue streams.
It's just good business. I mean, period.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for the longevity of it. Let's
CS:GO.
see. All right, Todd, I got a question for you. How mad are you right now that you switched to SC2 and not Dota? Are you mad at all? I mean, do you like Dota at all? I mean, it's kind of a...
I'm pretty happy I'm able to live with myself and sleep at night.
I don't know why all these troll questions are for you, man. I can't find like a real one for you. Oh, here we go. Well, this one's about... we talked about this so much, but I'll ask it anyways. Todd, Totalbiscuit, Baby9, and other players reiterated their criticism of casters on Twitter today. Ted Kalaris, etc., disagreed. But how do you think, or how should casters improve? Should they adopt more analytical style?
All right.
Todd,
Well,
let
who
me
do
get
you
Todd's
want to
opinion.
go first on this?
Yeah, Todd, why don't you go first on this? Because TB,
Yeah.
I know we've spoken a lot about this in the past.
Certainly.
It sounds a little bit vague. Like, is he asking how how casters should look to improve their own casting overall, or is he asking like, should there be more analysis and less play-by-play casters? I think a lot of people are being overly critical a lot of the time, and also you have to keep in mind you need to think about the big picture. Sorry, when you talk about casters, you shouldn't be thinking about I don't like this guy. You should be thinking also like, is he good for the general people that watch StarCraft? And in this case, I think they were talking about the 2 days casters for WCS Challenger, which personally I have no problem with. So I think casters, if they want to improve on their own personal level, obviously they should watch as many casts from the best casters out there as possible. They should work on a lot of different things, their vocabulary, do some thesaurus to find new words to work with and all that. As far as analysis goes, I think a lot of play-by-play casters, it's going to be very hard for them to go away from their usual routine to learn a lot more about the game. Like a play-by-play caster will never know as much as a pro player. That's why I think that the balance, pro player and play-by-play caster, is great. They need each other a lot, and they complete each other very well in casts. And if that's maybe also a part of what he wanted to ask, like, do I think there should be more analysis casts? Yes, I do think that almost every casting duo should be one caster doing analysis and one caster doing the play-by-play. Because for me, this is the best. But I can understand if some people want to watch something different, and I will not mind it that much.
Yeah, there's been this idea that's been floating around for years of, I think every time Home Story Cup came along, there was always a circle joke on Reddit about, pro players make the best casters, and why can't we have everything cast by pro players all the time? And that sounds great in theory, but you got to realize that Home Story Cup is a really nice kind of hardcore event in the sense that it really brings in the people that have loved StarCraft for years and years, because they get to see the personalities that they know in environments that are unusual. So you get that kind of more laid-back thing. But the big events are what get the most viewers, because there's the casual viewer base, which is much larger than that actually goes and watches stuff like WCS Europe Premier, because they want to see the best players in the most well-produced environment, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes down to the setup, I agree with Todd that I think analyst and play-by-play is by far the best combination. It's been used in sports for decades. I think it works very well. There's always room for improvement for everybody, but then there's kind of this section of the community that's pulling towards pure analysis all the time. And that sounds great for like an after show. Like, you can make different content based on pure analysis. That's why you get the sports analysis shows, and then you get the actual Super Bowl, and you would never have just nothing but analysts on the Super Bowl, because you're looking for the most viewers you can. You're looking to make it as enjoyable to the biggest audience you possibly can. And like right now for StarCraft, that's really important. We need to make sure that the casual audience doesn't go anywhere else. But a play-by-play can always learn better things, as you said. Vocabulary is something that a lot of casters don't do very well. They often repeat things. They often overuse terms. Stephen, you were mocking the whole beautiful force fields thing, and rightfully so. We overhype stuff to the point where I think that it becomes meaningless a lot of the time. And it's something I've tried to improve a lot in my casting over the past few months. When I see something like force fields going down, I will not... My brain's instantly telling me to say, oh, beautiful force fields or beautiful side storm. It's like, hang on a minute, is it, though? Was it? Let's just wait a little bit. Let's, spread that sentence out a little bit. You don't have to throw in filler words or whatever, but you don't have to instantly stop what you're saying and scream beautiful force fields for no reason. See how it plays out and then assess it and then toss it over to the analyst to say how they could have done better. And then keep on there. And when you see something that's genuinely cool, if you've learned to recognize it, then you go huge hype. And that's when things get really exciting. Mm-hmm. But it's certainly not, it's not easy. And I think that there's room for improvement with every caster on the planet, every single one of them, in one way or another. And obviously we should try and do the best that we possibly can there. But there should never be a level of expectation where every play-by-play caster has to have the knowledge of Artosis combined with the entirety of SKT1's player base and coaching staff. That's never going to happen, and you've kind of got to accept that. And there's always going to be a front man with the cool voice that can speak faster than the other guy, and then there's going to be the more reserved analyst who's going to pick it up afterwards, and that's a format that's just worked for a very long time.
Yeah. Okay, one last question. Well, there's a question about the arcade. How much do you guys actually play on the arcade? TV, do you actually play a lot of arcade games?
Quite a bit, actually.
Okay,
I love to go on there and play a couple of games of something. I'll jump into Nexus Wars or Desert Strike, or I actually play a lot of Battlecraft, which I love a lot. Battlecraft is like a much, much faster version of playing something like Nexus Wars. Nexus Wars can drag on for like an hour. But Battlecraft, you're spawning units in response to the other guy, and you're doing so immediately from an economy that's rising very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
And one fuck-up, like with the wrong composition, ends the game for you. And I think that's really exciting. But
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of very interesting arcade maps that I want to try out, and I'm actually going to do a video either tonight or tomorrow on my main channel that's promoting the arcade in a big way and saying, these are like 10 really cool arcade games that you can all go play for free now, like Starbow, like... I think it was, I can't remember what the name of it was. I'll have to look it up.
I could tell you a bunch of them if you ever need them. So.
Yeah, I'll tap you for that. But there's one which is Warcraft 3, basically. There's that one. I want to show that off to people.
Oh,
and
yeah. I think
and Smashcraft. Smashcraft is a fucking great game.
Still
the fact
good,
that doesn't get more attention.
Still good at this point.
So definitely. Yeah, I play a bit of it, but it's usually I only play the popular ones because I can't be asked waiting an hour for a player to come along, So if I want a quick game or something... And that sucks because it's kind of rich get richer, and it's always the same maps up there as a result of that because you can't find games otherwise.
That's really the question. Actually, that wasn't the question. That was my question to you. The question actually is like, now that 2.1 is making arcade free, do you think that other arcade games, such as Evolve Classic, one of my favorites, will be much more prevalent in the future? Is the popularity system that is currently in place simply going to further increase the amount of people playing top-played games and leave other great games as is?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the popularity system's got to be changed. Let's be honest. Sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
Or I was going to say, I kind of like Brood War system. I don't know if Warcraft would work the same way, where it's just you click join, and whatever games are open.
Well, the lobbies were there, too.
Yeah, it just shows a list of lobbies.
Yeah, the lobbies were great. And
I love that.
I miss that's the one thing I keep requesting is lobbies for the arcade especially, and
we need it.
One of the things I've been pushing for is just like have a day, and it just happens that Wednesday is just like the day I do that show, but I've just been pushing really hard to have one day where we all play like the same game as a community, just so that we can all congregate, because right now it's just too spread out. Most of the people are playing top games, but they're not even playing at the same time, and there's just this. You press play, and then there's just like this hope that the game starts.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up thing. Yeah, there needs to be lobbies. I hate wanting to play a game and like I don't know if anybody else is playing it, and you'll like click join, and then you'll like enter a lobby, and you'll be there alone for like an hour.
Oh, it's terrible.
I know. The simplest of games are so.
Fuck you, Todd.
Now, right now we've been playing Dodge Madness like the last 4 weeks because we haven't finished it. And it's the simplest game ever. It's like cross the road and there's like a ton of crap in your way, and God,
Frogger, basically.
It's like Frogger, but it's hard. It's like hard as shit to do. And you know, I have like Huck playing and Chef playing and all these guys playing with me, and we still can't get through the whole thing. But it's just games like that. You know, there's like really complex games like Starbow and just like more developed kind of things, and then there's just like super simple games that a lot of you guys just don't even know about yet. So yeah, TB, let
People are
me
shouting
know.
that there are lobbies. It's like, no, okay, right. If you didn't play Warcraft 3 and you didn't actually use Battle.net before Garena and Hamachi became the big things to play Dota,
Yeah.
you went on there, you went under custom games, and you found a list of shit, and you could filter it and sort it. And it was really important because Dota had a shitload of modes in Warcraft 3, way more than the current Dota 2 has. And there was stuff that was just ridiculous. Like there was WTF mode, where everything had like no cooldown and cost no mana, and there was all sorts of other shit like deathmatch and all that kind of thing. And the only way you could find the game that you wanted was to go on that list, scroll it, and you could set a description for your custom lobby. Yeah,
Hell
and you
yeah.
could say,
Yeah.
all right, no noobs wanted. I only want to play with Polish people that want to play deathmatch and are wearing wigs. And
2v2v2,
set that up-
BGH, free beer, sexy medics.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. And that was the way that you found those games. And you can't do that with the current popularity system. The lobbies don't let you do it because you create a lobby for that specific game, and then it's invisible until someone else also clicks play on that same game.
Yeah.
Which sounds great in theory, but what happens if you want the next Dota, you've got to have all of those different modes. And you've got to have that kind of flexibility, because otherwise those games are very limited. and
If
people
you want a
won't
successful
follow with it.
if you want a successful arcade, you need to show that there's like a lot of activity going on the arcade, and right now it's
Yeah.
completely hidden right now, and we don't, like I said, like that play button is the only thing that we have.
Yeah, you don't know when games are open.
I know.
That's the dumb thing. It's like, oh well, I could queue for Battlecraft, or maybe I just won't click that button. It's a catch-22. There's no players because they don't want to bother queuing and waiting for an hour. But because they're not queuing, there aren't going to be any games, and you can.
Absolutely. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Few of them,
Lost.
or something that sounds interesting, you jump in and you play that. I think that's something they really need to consider. I really do think that's important. It really helped with Warcraft 3 a lot. I didn't play much of Brood War, but I played a lot of customs on Warcraft 3. And that's how I found them.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think your videos are all frozen now. Maybe try restarting those videos. That's like everybody. It might be on my
Sure.
end. I got crazy. But yeah. So
Yeah,
anyways,
we can see you totally fine. I can see the other guys.
I can see the sky. Oh yeah, all your videos are fine. It must be me. But so just restart the video, Steven, Johan. But yeah. So anyways, big day, pretty big day for the arcade, and I know the EU team is planning an arcade day for next Friday, I believe. So I think you'll see a bunch of us doing some things in regards to that. I'll probably try to do a Wednesday night sprites on Friday during the day.
But do you think there
I'm
are
gonna
enough
start pushing
people?
this thing on my main channel.
Like, do you think the people who play arcade games, they like to play a lot of different games? Don't you think? Like, personally, I don't play arcade games, but if I did play one or two, for example, I used to play some Star Strikers,
Yeah.
I would play just one.
Yeah,
So
but
do you
that's
think?
fine. That's okay.
I
It's
think
Do you
just,
think
the
there are
thing is
going to be
you're
like a
pro
lot of
player,
people?
though. Like you
Yeah.
can't. I think like those
See.
that don't ladder very much are more likely to play more different kinds of arcade games, and those that do
Yeah.
ladder a lot and actually play proper StarCraft are going to play less.
but
So I
but
think
even if,
you can totally bring the casuals in.
even if they only play one game, Todd, it's just a matter
they
of getting them
one
all to
game.
play at the same time. Like right now, there's just not. I mean, it's not critical mass, so that there's always games going on. Like even Star Striker, even when I was doing the event, I mean, it was really vibrant during that time, and there was only maybe 2 or 3 games going consistently throughout the day, like in that chat channel. You know what I mean? Like customs being started. So the
We
issue.
rely on the chat channels.
I know, but that's like the only way to do it, I think right now. So
Yeah,
the
I
thing
know.
is that we have to do something probably outside of the actual interface system itself right now to kind of bring people together and play at the same time, so that even if you like this one game, well, you can go and play when everybody plays that game at the same time, versus just like doing your own thing. Everybody's just kind of doing their own thing right now, and it's just it's not really creating any kind of momentum with the arcade.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So that's hopefully the 2.1 patch will change that with the free to play, and maybe we will reach some critical mass so we can overcome the deficiencies in the client itself. But
And then Starbo will rise to the peak of esports, and everything will be saved, and all that shit. Yeah.
Something interesting, I mentioned it earlier, Totalbiscuit. I think for the first time in all of history, though, with the arcade being free to play, Starbow is technically the first free to play, like, actual real time strategy game that's ever been
Straight up
released,
free.
right? What?
TA Spring was which was basically an engine reinterpretation of Total Annihilation. That was completely free, and which
that
was
game.
actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh,
So what,
okay, I just
TA
don't fuck
Total
that game,
Annihilation?
Oh no, I was whatever Spring Engine because it ruins my point.
But don't you think this might cause some problems, maybe? Because there is a game that's like similar, well, has some similarities with Brood War. It's like almost an RTS in itself, and it's free to play in a game that's not supposed to be free
Like,
to play.
can we like imagine the world? Like, how many Blizzard employees would commit suicide if this game took off like Dota did, and like Blizzard had nothing?
guys, they would just take the game. I mean, they would hire that developer. The developer would be the lead developer probably for this You know what I mean? They're going to own this thing regardless of it. If it takes off, Blizzard has it. I mean, it's not...
Yeah, but they can't make any money from it. That's the real problem with it. If they'd actually put the system into place that they said they were going to years ago, where they were going to allow arcade maps to be sold for like $1 each or whatever, maybe there would have been a way to actually make that happen. But there is the potential. I don't think Starbow is going to become the next Dota because it's too similar to StarCraft 2. You know, it's already it's more like Starbow to me is more like Pro Mod for COD 4. Which actually did become the de facto competitive way to play it in the UK. Right. So that was kind of a big deal. And I mean, you can even look at something like Counter-Strike, the original Counter-Strike. You know, no one was really playing Half-Life 1 Deathmatch. They were playing Counter-Strike. And eventually, Valve figured out a way to actually monetize that, but it took them a while. I think if you got something that ended up being radically different and was actually like Dota and wasn't just sort of a rebalance with different units of StarCraft 2, then yeah, I think Blizzard could take ownership of it. But it is a weird spot to be in where I don't think it's going to happen, but
I don't think so either.
There's the potential for this mod to explode and actually become viable competitively and have tournaments run over it. And I don't really know how Blizzard handles that. I actually don't have any idea.
Also, like, it's different because to play Counter-Strike, you needed to buy Half-Life, but now you don't need to buy StarCraft to play Starbow.
It's very true.
Yeah, but but the revenue model for just Half-Life and all that. I mean, it's a different time now, so they would have to figure out something.
It's a different time, really, because Blizzard seems to be living in whatever time.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, even comparing it to that, comparing it to Pro Mod is like a different thing altogether.
It's a real risk, I think, what they've done. It's dangerous. It's great that they did it, and I'm actually kind of surprised that they went that far. But yeah, it is dangerous. They're saying, here is something free, and you can develop for it. And they're hoping that there's going to be some kind of bleed over to the real StarCraft 2. And I'm going to be honest, outside of the campaigns, I don't think necessarily that there will be. Is someone really going to jump from playing Nexus Wars and Smashcraft and Star Strikers to getting on ladder? I mean, is that actually going to happen? Or even in terms of Starbow, is someone going to start playing Starbow and then go on StarCraft 2 ladder? Don't think so. That doesn't seem likely.
I mean, but the thing is that, yeah, I know that's their only revenue. Their only revenue channel right now is selling. Just selling
copies of the game.
The game itself, but having users is always a valuable thing. So
not if you can't monetize those users.
Exactly.
Not if you can't monetize them.
But then, okay,
I wonder if
how
they
it
then
always
monetize
goes.
them with another game.
Yeah, when you always build a product,
they monetize with Heroes of the Storm or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
So my experience with just making product, right, is it doesn't matter if you make money. You don't make money a lot of times in the very beginning, right? But getting usership, getting users, it's just kind of like YouTube too, right, John? It's like once you get them, then you can start like really heavily monetizing and then building whatever you want to build.
Pumping them for money.
Exactly. Right. So having like that viewership. I mean, look at companies like Facebook and Twitter. They weren't making jack shit for revenue for a long time, yet they were like one of the most valuable companies out there because of just having the social graph and just having the actual users themselves, right? So just having
what can you do with those users?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so they can implement. Who knows? They might be implementing some kind of purchasing system right now that we just don't know about. I don't know, but
I hope they do.
Yeah. Did y'all see the snowflake video earlier?
The what?
Todd, the snowflake video. Todd, link him the snowflake.
You linked it
video.
in the thing, and you said it was with Kevin. And then when I clicked it and Rotterdam wasn't there, I was pissed off and left. So I didn't watch it. Sorry.
Oh, you gotta watch this. Watch this, John. Or
I haven't
TV.
looked at it.
Okay. I'm surprised you didn't see this yet. This is... Okay, I'm gonna play it on stream here. I didn't know...
You're not talking about the
Kevin,
Noni
and I'm a
cast, are you?
unique
No,
and
I didn't know
special
KMJ had this in
I work
him.
at Blizzard
I just
Entertainment.
linked it.
Great place for a snowflake. At Blizzard, we make games. No, let me clarify that. We obsess over games.
Oh yeah, Kevin mentioned
Making
they were
games is
doing
awesome,
something
but
special
it's also
today.
really hard.
Oh
I know
dear.
what you're thinking.
Oh
How
dear.
hard can it be?
Kevin.
Really
Kevin.
hard. So you want to make games? Of course you do. We want to help. We want to help you so bad that we are willing to give you our own stuff completely free. Look, this is something we've been doing for a while now. Warcraft 1, 2, 3, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2.
The
Some
bailing
people call
rolling.
them mod tools. We like to call them genre-defining opportunity makers, or just change the face of the gaming industry tools, for short. Let's be crystal clear. These are not some second-rate tools here. These are the exact same tools that we use to make our own game. All we need is a beautiful snowflake willing to run them. You're beautiful. Be confident. This is our editor. Did you know that this comes totally packed with 14,513 custom art models and 22,758 textures ready to rock your personal creations? Maybe you would like to know that this will be the leading cause of highly successful careers in AAA gaming companies. Did you know that its potential, your potential, has yet to be tapped? Somebody used this thing to invent the pixel. We want you to have it. Blizzard just made access to the arcade completely free. That means that not only are the millions of voracious gamers that log into the platform every month primed and ready to consume your developmental delicacies,
This is
but
much
now
better than
anyone
their other
that you
videos.
can
I mean,
convince to
those
have even a
boring-ass
remote interest in
videos,
your
right?
game has a straight path to access it at no
What,
cost.
the arcade spotlight
You
ones?
see,
or-
I'm not the only unique and special snowflake. You are. And you deserve to be appreciated as such. And the game you're going to make deserves to be played. Make games. It's hard. You can do this. You got everything you need.
The booms right there. Anyways, yeah, that was the video they released today.
Well, that's definitely one way of doing it.
It was...
So do you like this ad or my ad with Bomber and Red Bull better?
Well, I don't know. It's pretty close.
I think
Really?
yours might have been more effective.
I think yours is
It-
more effective. Shorter, for sure, right?
I think the problem with that ad, right, is that ad is basically kind of pandering to already existing fans, whereas what you really need to be doing is reaching out to others, reaching out to people that have either forgotten about the arcade, just forgotten about Blizzard games in general, or just aren't fans of it at all. I don't think that video does the job there. It's a funny video. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
It's nice to sort of see inside the office. It's like, hey, usually there's this big wall of Blizzard that you cannot pass, and suddenly you get to see inside. That's kind of neat. And it's quirky, it's funny, it's a bit cringeworthy and awkward, but it's dorky. I like it. But I don't know if it fulfills the purpose, honestly. I don't necessarily think that it does.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, why don't we wrap up the show? It's been a long show, but it's a pleasure having you guys on, Todd. It's been a while since I had you on, so it's really, really cool to. Actually, have you been on Unfiltered? You've been on Unfiltered before, right? Is this the first time?
I don't think so.
I don't
Maybe
even-
one time.
Steven, has he been
I
on
remember.
before, Steven? Has Todd been on here before?
Thank God, no, I would have remembered. Trust me.
Okay. And then TB, as always, pleasure having you join us the
thank
second
you.
half.
Thanks, guys.
But you want to do some shout outs, Todd? You want to start us off?
Yeah. Thanks to my team XMG, as always. Best gaming laptops out there. Tune in to the Wear.com Invitational. Don't yawn when I'm doing my shoutouts, Steven.
I'm sorry, man.
I hate you.
Every time you talk, I just get so hot in here and
Shut up.
makes me sleepy,
Tune in to the Wear.com Invitational. It starts Thursday, and we're gonna have 4 days of games featuring a lot of top players, a lot of top Korean players in particular, which is gonna be very interesting. And yeah, thanks to you, ChanManV, for having me on the show. And right after this show, I recommend you tune in to WCS America. I've been watching the first best of 5 they're gonna play today. They're gonna have 6 best of 5, and believe me, it's some pretty good games. Bells is playing versus Huck right now. That's all.
Okay, awesome. TB, shout outs,
Yes.
thank yous.
Big thanks to everyone that supported the concept of Clan Wars so far. Hopefully the execution doesn't suck. Big thanks to MLG for providing the prize pool and the support for that. For those wanting to know when it's going to start, we're looking sometime February. Now 2.1's out. We're getting the last technical aspect sorted out with GameHeart, and then we need to actually get this shit scheduled. So we'll get it done, hoping to launch in February, dodging WCS, as you might imagine. And also, of course, a big shout out to the sponsors of Axiom, PlanetSide 2, and WASD Keyboards. Thank you very much for your support. And those, again, asking about Axiom merchandise, it's almost done. Like, it's about ready to launch. We're just confirming the last few details with the producer, and then we'll have all of that stuff on sale for you. Also, big thanks to everyone.
It's never been
What,
on
the
sale?
Axiom stuff?
Yeah.
We sold the 2012 shirt on District Lines, but we're going to be doing a lot more. We're releasing shirt, hoodie, cap, polo shirt, things like that you'll be able to buy on Rodeo Arcade.
Cool.
And also a shout out to all of my subscribers on Twitch, and thanks for your support.
Awesome. Steven!
If you guys are impressed today by how smooth and beautiful my face is, check out destiny.gg/shave, and you can order razors from Dollar Shave Club. I get credit for that dirty esports money. Cheap razors shipped to your door every month. You never have to go outside. You can watch my stream all day, every day. Or you can watch the GameOn MLG Invitational. You go to gameon.gg. You can see the schedule there. Our next broadcast begins on the 23rd at 7 p.m. EST. We'll be starting with Group C. And I believe that those players are, it's like Minigun, Vibe, Desro, and QXC. So that'll be kind of an interesting group with a couple, at least 2 fan favorites there.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm the only one who loves Minigun, I don't know. Also, forgetting something. Oh, if you like cell phones, check out destiny.gg/ting. Totalbiscuit's promoted one of the past 2. Really cool service. You can check out the savings calculator, see how much it'll cost you to switch to their service. They also will pay a percentage of your previous contract if you're locked into a contract to switch. And other than that, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having me here, Chris. Thanks for coming here, Totalbiscuit. And Todd's here too. And that's all I got.
All right, I'll round things out by, again, thanking you 3 and just reiterating, guys, that these 3 guys, all the events that they're participating in and running and planning, I mean, this is what we're talking about with saving Shoutcraft 2 and shit like that, all right? This is the stuff that keeps the community going and the energy going in the community. Yeah, Destiny casting. Oh, actually, by the way, Steven, are you guys going to release, like, highlights from your rehearsal? Somebody asked that. I forgot to ask that. Just some kind of YouTube video with the highlights, because that's some funny shit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. I had to close it because Kat's typed his password in on stream. Like, I think you can make it out on the keyboard, so he had to change his Skype password.
That sucks.
But he should have it changed by now. So yeah, I'll unhide that VOD.
Okay, cool. And thank you guys for watching the show as always. VOD, first part of the VOD's already up. I'll get the next 2 up immediately after. Follow us all on Twitter at XMGTodd, at Steven_Benell, and at Totalbiscuit. Myself at ChanManV. And click the follow button if you enjoyed this show or my other shows, Value Town, Wednesday Night Sprites, and Climbing the Ladder whenever it happens. I really appreciate that. And the VODs all my VODs, past shows are all on youtube.com/ChanManV. And the audios, guys, everybody's been asking about the audios, and I finally have got the process down. So it's like, it sounds easy to do audios, but I had an old way of doing it, and it was like somebody who's just like disappeared off the face of this earth. So it was kind of a pain trying to get that over. But the audios will be starting up again this week for all of my shows. So those of you that have been asking should be happy now, and glad you're going to be able to listen to it. But that's going to be it for Unfiltered for this week. So for Totalbiscuit, Todd, Destiny, and ChanManV, we'll see you next time. Later.
See you.